Hey, it's Sri here. In today's video, I'm going to explain to you exactly why it is that you need to make sure that you're consistently focusing on your own healing and your own growth, even if you're the one that's on the receiving end of infidelity or your marriage is falling apart. Now, before we dive in, if you're on the receiving end of infidelity or you're going through some difficult times in your marriage, I know it is such a painful time for you, and my heart breaks for the pain that you're going through. And so if you are in a place where you're needing some help and you're needing some support on this journey and you're not sure what to do, then what I'd encourage you to do is in the description section below, there's a link that just says book a call with me. Just click on that link, choose a time that works for you, and then I can speak to you personally just so I can learn a little bit more about your situation, just see if there's any way that I can help you through the use of my program. There are so many women who are going through my program at the moment that are creating incredible changes in their marriage. People like Laurie, people like Angie, people who have been able to create extraordinary shifts in their marriages through going deep into their own healing and also going deep into their own transformation within the marriage itself. So once again, just click on that link, choose a time that works for you, and then I really look forward to being of service to you. And make sure you hit that subscribe button below and click on that bell notification as well, so every week you get access to my latest videos where I'll talk you through exactly the steps that you need to take in order to be able to save your marriage, how to recover from infidelity, and how to really become the best version of you so that you're able to move forward and be in the happiest and most peaceful place that you possibly can be. Hi, my name's Sri Rajasekar, and I've been helping women over the last 10 years to be able to create extraordinary marriages and really be able to help themselves to truly heal on their journey as well. Now, I get it. Your husband may have cheated on you. He may have said that, look, he wants a divorce or he wants a separation of some sort. And then suddenly here I am telling you that you're the one that needs to be doing the work. And I know that can be really painful, and I know it can be really frustrating. But I wanted to shoot this video because I really wanted to explain to you exactly the reasons why. You see, one of the things that I hear a lot from clients and from people that I interact with on a regular basis through my work are often telling me and getting frustrated at the fact that they're having to do a lot of this internal work, or they're afraid of doing the work because of the potential consequences of that. And that's totally normal. It's so normal to be in this place. As human beings, we don't like change. We don't like to embark on a journey that is different to what is envisioned in our mind or that we're comfortable with. And so if someone is saying to you, you need to be doing X, Y, Z, and that's different to what's in your head, then obviously that's going to create a lot of pain, a lot of frustration, a lot of fear. But in life, if we follow the path of fear, then we're always going to get let down. We're always going to struggle in life because we're never going to get the outcome that we really want. It's normal to have those fears, but regardless of the fear, we have to take a path that's actually going to help us to move forward and progress, even if it does test us a little bit. So what I want to do in this video is I want to talk you through 5 reasons why you've got to be making sure that you do the work, and also discuss some pitfalls that you need to be aware of as you embark on this journey of personal development and growth in your marriage. Now, the first reason I wanted to point out was that if you don't grow you, even if your husband does come back, the chances are that the marriage is going to go back to where it was anyway. Now, I remember speaking to a client a number of years ago, and she told me at the time that all she wanted was her husband to come back. He had been out of the house for a number of months, and all she wanted was for him to come back. So we did a lot of amazing work. He came back. But then what happened was, when he came back, she found herself feeling even more insecure, even more fearful, and it actually caused more problems than it was beforehand. Now, why is that? You see, when marriages are going through some difficult times, it's not just this one thing that's happened out of the blue. It's a sequence of events. It's a succession of behaviors that have happened over a period of time that have got this marriage to a certain point. And yes, there are some extreme examples that I've talked about numerous times about narcissists and sociopaths and so on. But putting that to the side, if we're dealing with good people here, we have to remember that a lot of these behaviors have stacked over a period of time. Now, if you then have a situation where there's a separation, and then down the line, one person decides, look, I want to make the effort to come back. If both parties aren't actually growing and being the best versions of themselves, then they're just going to create the same problems over and over. There might be that initial rush of, wow, we're actually working on things. But then over time, it's going to go back to those old patterns because we haven't done the deep work. We've got to do the deep healing. And the only person that you can control right now when it comes to that work is you. So this is the first reason why you have to make sure that you do that work. Because if you don't grow you, the marriage simply won't grow. Now the second reason why we have to make sure we do the work is because we have to beware the trick of the ego. See, I always believe that there are two parts to ourselves. We've got our ego and we have our spirit. You know, our spirit comes from love. Our spirit is timeless, it's eternal. It lives in the moment. Then we have our ego, which is a collection of all of our beliefs, all of our experiences over the years, and it's created this identity, if you like. Now that ego is always living in the future or the past, and is very much driven by a lot of fear. See, the thing with the ego is that if we've struggled and we've gone through a lot of challenges in our lives, and we believe that we're inadequate or we're not good enough or whatever it is, then that's essentially our identity. Then if we've gone through some challenges in our marriage, or we're going through a divorce, etc., we're going to be worrying and living in so much fear. But the thing is that because we're living in that fear, it aligns with who we believe we are. Because we've dealt with all of this negativity for so long, we believe it's who we are. Now, when we're dealing with some of these negative experiences, our ego is going to be on fire, thinking about all the negative experiences, all the problems. What happens if I do this? What happens if I do that? And so on. And there is a payoff to that behavior. And the payoff is that it keeps you aligned with that identity of, I'm not enough, I'm not worthy of love, I deserve this, and all of these other negative thoughts that we hold on to. Now, people find it a little bit challenging when I say there's always a payoff whenever it comes to these negative thoughts. How is there a payoff? How is there a potential benefit of it? Well, the benefit and the payoff is that it keeps you stuck in your pain. And because that's your identity, that's where you live. And that's why we have to be really careful about listening to those negative thoughts that constantly come up in our mind when we're in these negative and lower states. Because if we're in those lower emotional states, it's going to keep us stuck in that place. So that's another reason why you have to make sure you do the work so that you rise above your ego and you can connect more with your spirit. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, well, how on earth do I do that? Well, that's all worked through in my program, The Authentic Relationship System, which I'll tell you a little bit more at the end about as well. But you have to make sure you do the work. It is so important. Now, the third reason why you have to make sure you do the work is that you are the centerpiece of your life. As I said before, you're in control of you. And if you don't work on you, then basically what's going to happen is that you either have to face your problems now, or you face them in 6 months' time, or you face them in a year's time. But no matter what, it's not going away. And the reason is because we're all on this path where I believe we either grow or we die. In other words, we either get better or we slowly start to decline. If we don't make the effort to be proactive in our development, to actually really move forward and to heal, then we just continue to decline. And I know a lot of people think, well, hey, look, I'm going through a divorce, so what's the point of even doing the work? It does not matter whether you're going through a divorce, doesn't matter if you're working on the marriage, if you're just going through a separation, whatever it is. If you don't grow you, then none of the areas in your life are going to improve. Plain and simple. We have to really go deep into ourselves. Please listen to me on this one, because I know a lot of people, and I've been interacting with a number of women lately who I've spoken to or messaged maybe months later after our initial consults, and they've done nothing, and they've gone through a divorce or they're going through a separation or whatever. But because they're not working on themselves, they're not actually getting any better. So their circumstances are not actually going to improve in any way. And even if they go through a divorce or a separation, it's not actually going to help them in future relationships at all, because they're bringing the same versions of themselves into the next one. And that's not going to be a fun place at all. And I know this might trigger you a little bit, but please understand, I'm saying all these things because I care. And it's my life's mission to be able to serve women like you who are going through these painful times and are wanting to heal. So really make sure that you do the work, because you are the centerpiece of your life. And if you don't grow you, then none of the other things in your life are going to actually improve at the level that you want it. Now, the fourth reason why you need to make sure you do the work is more of a logical reason. So just think about this for a second. Let's say you're trying to start a business and you basically just sit around, you dream about these ideas, or maybe you've got an idea in your mind and you love this idea and you want this business to flourish, but you're not doing anything. Just think about this for a second. Is that business going to grow? Is anything going to happen? And the answer is, of course not. You've got to do the work. If you want that business to flourish, you've got to incorporate the company, you've got to take the action, you've got to do the marketing, you've got to, create the products, whatever it is, to make it work. And the same goes for your marriage. If you sit back or you are living in all of that fear, which I completely understand and I empathize with so greatly, but if you don't do anything about it, if you don't take the steps that you need to, then the chances are that things are just not going to unfold in the way that you want them to. And I know that that might be a difficult reality to accept because, it's a very emotional place that you're in. And when you're in that emotional place, I understand, I get it, how it just paralyzes you. Believe me, I've been there so many times in so many areas of my life where, I've wanted things to happen, but I end up staying in this kind of almost like victim position, and I'm not doing the work that I need to do, and it just holds me back. But the only way that I was able to get out of it was to do my own healing, but also to make sure I took action and just did the work. Did the things that I need to do, take the steps that I need to take, get the help that I needed in order to be able to move forward. Because otherwise, it just kept me in that loop of negativity over and over and over. And it's such a painful place, and that's why I empathize with all of you, because I feel your pain. I know what that feels like. So you've got to make sure, even from a logical perspective, if you do the work, you're going to get the results. Then worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, you won't have any regrets because you've done everything in your power to try and make it work. Now, the fifth reason that you want to make sure you do the work is to really address some of the internal fears that you may be having right now around, if I do the work, what happens if I don't actually want him? What happens if I decide that I don't want to be with this man anymore? And I get it. I know that can be really, really fearful because once again, we don't like change. Even if we've been in a terrible marriage for a long time, it's something that we know, it's something that we're used to. And so even the thought of being happy or the thought of actually moving on a different path where you might be free, that can actually be really frightening to deal with. And it can happen in other areas of our lives, even sometimes moving jobs and just taking a different route to work, or changing homes, that can be really, really challenging to deal with. So we have to remember that having this fear is very, very common around change. But here's my question to you. Would you rather be in a situation right now where you're in a marriage that's causing you a lot of pain and instilling a lot of fear and so forth inside of you? Or would you rather potentially be free from it and be happy? Now, I'm not saying that doing the work is going to result in you deciding that you don't want to be with him. But worst case scenario, that happens and you do get to that place. Isn't that a better place to be? Isn't that a more joyful, happy place? I mean, after all, aren't we on this earth for a limited time? Why would we want to suffer our way through it? Don't we want to be in a peaceful and joyful place? That's what I want for you. And I know that you're going to be capable of it. And I've got women in my program who have been able to save their marriage by putting in the work, and they've been really, really happy. But equally, I've had some women in my program who have also done the work and realized, you know what? I don't want to tolerate this behavior anymore because I'm beautiful and I'm amazing and I'm a goddess and I really, really deserve the very best that's out there. And if you get to that place, it is the most magical feeling. Empowerment is such a wonderful thing and you're absolutely capable of it. But you've got to do the work. It's plain and simple. You have to take the steps that you need to take in order to grow, in order to heal. And when I say do the work, what I mean is you've got to go deep inside to understand your fears, understand what's triggering those fears, understand the different thought processes, and also release a lot of those emotional scars and the trauma and so forth that you've had to deal with over the years so that you ultimately can free yourself. There was once a person who asked Michelangelo, how did you create the statue of David from this big block of marble? And what he said was that the statue of David already existed in the marble. All I had to do was chip around the outside so that you could see him. And that's exactly what you are. You are this magnificent human being full of love, full of peace, full of joy. And all we're doing here in terms of doing this work is to chip around the outside so we can see your magnificence and you can feel it within yourself as well. So if you're in a place where you're wanting to allow your magnificence to shine and to truly heal and to maximize your chances of saving your marriage and really being the best version of you, then I'd love to be of service to you through my program, The Authentic Relationship System. It's a remarkable program. It's got you covered on all levels. I don't take on every single client because for me, it's about creating a beautiful community where I can actually provide you with an in-depth level of support. I'm not trying to just take on the masses of people. It's about working with the right people to make sure it's a good fit and make sure you get the greatest results that you possibly can. So if you're really wanting to make some progress and you're in a really difficult place right now and you want to come into a community where you're going to make huge shifts, then I'd love to be of service to you. So all you need to do is in the description section below, just click on that link which says book a call with me. Just click on that link, choose a time that works for you, and then I'll contact you at the scheduled time just so I can learn a little bit more about where you're at, where you want to get to, and just how we can bridge that gap through my program. And if it's a great fit, I'll let you know more about the details and we can get you on board. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've liked it, make sure you hit the like button below. If you want to get more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And do let me know what your biggest takeaway is from this video or what you found most helpful. I always love hearing the comments and the questions, so make sure you write them below and I'll respond to every single one of them. And if you want to learn the signs that your husband might be cheating, click on this video above. If you want to learn why do men always come back after a separation, click this video above. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you in the next video.